In 2018, Chris had the honor of leading an expedition in the Peruvian Amazon. Given Chris's career choice and his extensive work with reptiles, this expedition had a heavy focus on herpetology. The ultimate goal of the trip would be to find a wild Bushmaster, something that is extremely rare and that Chris has never done before. Chris has been to Peru many times, and on previous expeditions to Peru, Chris has encountered some incredible wildlife. This is an aquatic coral snake that he photographed in Peru a few years ago. Now, the really cool thing about this highly venomous snake is that it completely falsifies the American saying, "Red touches yellow, kill a fellow." And here are a few more awesome shots. On previous trips, he's encountered sloths, rainbow boas, and even black caiman, among a bunch of other different crazy animals. As night falls, Chris and his team head out with their flashlights to see what kind of incredible animals they'll be able to encounter. We're Chris and Gabby. We're just your average couple with a passion for wildlife. Okay, or not so average. We're professional animal handlers living in South Florida. We work with dangerous animals on a daily basis. Nothing is off limits, and we never know what kind of crazy animal we're going to run into next. Join us as we explore, adventure, and travel to new and amazing places. Welcome to our wild world. The first thing that they find is a beautiful Peruvian rainbow boa. This gorgeous non-venomous snake is easily identifiable by its beautiful iridescence. Like most boa species, rainbow boas are ovoviviparous, so instead of laying eggs like a lot of reptiles do, they give birth to live babies.
Hey guys, we're in the Peruvian Amazon on a night hike and we just came across this amazing rainbow boa hanging out in the middle of the trail. Let's see if we can uncoil this one. See if you can get a good look. This is our second rainbow boa of the trip. We just got one just a couple nights ago. Check that out. Beautiful iridescence on this animal. And the one we had the other night was really bitey. This one is pretty calm so far. But gorgeous rainbow, good size too. The other one we got the other night was a little bit bigger than this. And they're just beautiful animals. So really excited to find this guy out here on the night hike.
As they continue walking through the jungle, they finally find what they came for. A wild Bushmaster coiled up right on the side of the trail. With the potential to reach up to 10 feet in length and a venom yield 8 times more than a copperhead, this snake demands respect. A single bite from one of these animals while you're in the jungle will be fatal. Heat-sensing pits located between the eyes and the nostrils are used to help the snake with an incredibly accurate strike. It isn't unusual for these snakes to remain coiled at one site for weeks, waiting for the perfect opportunity to ambush their prey. The reddish-brown and pinkish colors along the snake's back match perfectly against the forest floor. It's almost impossible to see them if you're not paying attention.
So guys, we just found this Bushmaster here in Peru, in situ, coiled up, and I am stoked. Look at that thing. Oh my God, look at that.
That's quite a snake.
That is incredible. This is Chris Gillette. We're in the Peruvian Amazon right now, and we have got a 7-foot Bushmaster we just found out on the trail. I am so beyond excited, but I'm also trying to stay very calm, very focused. We are in the literal middle of nowhere, and this is a very large snake. It's the largest species of pit viper. Just such an impressive, amazing animal. So gorgeous. This is insane. Hands are like...
Yeah.
Chris is an expert on animal behavior and reading body language, and he's been handling venomous snakes for over a decade now. So he felt comfortable and confident enough in his ability to pick up the snake to get some once-in-a-lifetime photos with this beautiful animal.
I can see the size. Look at that thing.
Oh my god.
Oh my god. Woo!
Now, if you're wondering why Chris is wearing sandals, he actually had a problem with his boots, and sandals were the only other thing he had. Sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do. To really put the size of the snake in perspective, Chris is 6'4", and the snake was longer than he was.
Oh my god. That is incredible. Be ready to jump, Eric. Yeah, watch out, Eric.
I see him.
I just can't get over this thing. So incredible. The scalation is amazing.
Yeah.
After getting some incredible photos, it's time to release this beautiful animal back into its habitat.
You know, Gabby usually handles the voiceover part of these, but I definitely had to get in here and just talk a little bit about how it was to see this animal in the wild. Ever since I was a little kid, I've always been obsessed with snakes, and when I was looking through various books about snakes, one of the pinnacle snakes to find was the Bushmaster. I would see photos of this and videos and things like that, and I'd read about it, and I was just like, wow, it was like a mythical creature to me. It was hard to imagine that this could even exist. When I think about it, this has got to be the top snake in this hemisphere. I mean, realistically, the only thing I can really think about in the snake world that could even compete with the Bushmaster is something like a king cobra. And so on this side of the world, that's not going to happen. So this really is just the top of the line, just the most impressive, most awesome kind of snake that you can find on this side of the planet. Honestly, when I first saw it, it didn't even seem real. It was just like, wow, that's actually here in the wild, coiled up on the trail. It was just incredible to be able to see. But what was also really fascinating is how calm the snake was. At first, it didn't even move. It just remained perfectly coiled, and then it would just turn its head and look at each one of us and check us out without moving any of the rest of the body. And it was just so calculating, I think is the best word I can put here, how it would just watch us and study us and try to figure out the situation and what it could do. Most snakes, when you first encounter them like this, either they turn to flee or they become defensive or something like that, but this one honestly had no real fear of us. It was very aware that we were there and would turn and look, give a tongue flick, and was very aware but was not afraid at all. It's like, this guy knows he is the top out here. He knows he is one of the apex predators in this ecosystem and realistically has almost nothing to fear out here. The snake was very patient for us and just waited, took a ton of photos, but then when it did decide to start to move off, that's when I very gently grasped the tail and using a pair of tongs was able to support the rest of the body and hold the snake up so we can get a couple more photos and have a better look at it. And honestly,
I had to be able to interact with this animal. It was so incredible. Now, I know a lot of you are thinking, oh, I would love to do something like that too, but this is where I also say I have been a venomous snake handler for many, many years, and this is an extremely dangerous species of snake, so please never try this on your own, but it was just so cool to be able to see and to be able to share this moment with and work with. Now, you'll notice in the video, you see me turning from side to side. That's when the snake starts to turn. I'll turn my body, and that way I can keep the snake's head oriented away from me. It's kind of like dances with snakes, so to speak, and that's one of the techniques I'll use to be able to safely handle this animal without having to restrain it in any way and without having to upset the animal. We're actually going to be doing another trip. I'm going to be leading another expedition this coming October of 2019. So if anybody does want to come out and go herping with me in the Peruvian Amazon and have a chance of finding another Bushmaster, let me know and send me an email and let's set it up.
If you're interested in joining Chris and I for our next expedition to Peru in October 2019, shoot him an email over at chrisgillettewildlife@gmail.com.